Hey, great people. Thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna.
And I am Victor Akunna.
Alright, so if you're new to our YouTube channel, Foundation for Family Affairs, please subscribe and turn on the bell next to it so you're notified when we drop our content. I would like to say thank you to every returning subscriber.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for engaging with us. Thank you for sharing our content. And feel free to share this, like I said in the previous video, with your friends, with people you think might need them, with people you think do not need them, but might know people who need them. Okay, so we are happy to come to you again with this content. Why you no longer enjoy sex. This is the part 2. If you haven't seen the previous one, please pause at this point and go see that one and come back, okay, and then enjoy this. But we're sharing some points that we know would cause a change, will transform things in any marriage. And that's why we're encouraging you to see the previous one, because we might have touched on points that you also need to hear about. You want to say something?
Yeah, so basically sex is such an important thing in a relationship. It's such an important thing in marriage relationships. Alright, so it's very important, because if you're not having sex, sometimes it's a temperature check. It should be saying something to you guys.
That's true.
Alright, so it's saying something that maybe that you guys need to pay attention to. So sex is so important both for the wife and more so for the man and for the couple. So there are many things. For example, one of the things it does is that it creates a form of lubricant that lubricates your relationship. All right, that kind of bring you guys together. Very important. And so you don't leave such things to the back burner. All right, so I'm not saying marriage is built for sex, but it's a very crucial part of marriage. All right.
That's true. Okay, so we're encouraging you to have it. Now, the first point we have here for you today is personal hygiene. Why you no longer enjoy sex. Personal hygiene. Sometimes, because we're trying to make you understand that your spouse might just be sitting there thinking, oh, every time I try to get intimate with him or her, it's the smell just puts me off. It's off-putting. Okay, so these are things you need to pay attention to. You might need to be scrubbing up some more. You might need to be shaving some parts. Okay, personal hygiene. If you are going to have sex is intended for pleasure. If you're going to have pleasure the way it should be, then you need to be neat.
As a guy, all right, change your boxers every day. All right, have many boxes. Some guys that we know, all right, they don't change their boxers regularly, so they wear one over and over again. No, while you do that, there are a lot of secretions that come on it that gives it this awful smell. Sometimes your mouth might need to floss during the day, do it twice a day. There are many things, all right. Sometimes it might be this upper region, all right. Make it clean, the armpit, all right, where your spouse, have that lovely smell, all right, about yourself. There's something I call lingering presence. All right, so make sure that your presence oozes out something nice, something fresh. All right, so that's very important for guys. All right, let's take our hygiene to the next level.
The next level. When you talk about mouth, some people will be wondering. It's just part of it, because we don't just we encourage people to engage in foreplay. Okay, that makes sex worth it. That makes sex pleasurable. Not just the act, but the foreplay. So if you're going to have foreplay, some people like kissing. Okay, so you may have noticed that your spouse who used to like it has gone off it because maybe your breath now has a problem. And I discussed this. We discussed this in a ladies group when we're talking, and then noticed that they will tell you when women are pregnant, the hormones impact on the gums. Okay, so they start bleeding, things like that. So we need to pay some attention to these things and see how we can improve things in the bedroom. Okay, so another point we have for you today is selfish approach to sex. So this is a big one. Selfish approach to sex. When it's just me. Okay, you're not bothered about sex. Should be for both of you. Okay, the man and the woman. It's not just one person who should be satisfied. So if the man comes on and they'll tell you women take longer. not to tell your experience, right? Women take longer to get there, right? So you can imagine if he just comes on, does his thing, and before I am satisfied, he just goes off, right?
Or slips off.
I'll be frustrated, right? And in no time, I'll no longer want to have it. What's this? Okay, so it just becomes like, let's just check the box. Okay, I'm gonna play the good wife and just give it to you. But if you would want to ensure that your spouse is enjoying it as well, then you'll be looking out for the need of the other.
There's a man by the name Jimmy Evans that said that marriage is brutal on selfish people.
Right.
All right. So the thing about selfishness is that it creates a culture within the relationship where everybody is trying to look after their own interest, and you can't do that successfully in a team. You can't do that successfully when you're supposed to be a team. All right, team means you guys need to share resources, share ideas. So if you belong to a team, I don't care where it is, maybe at work, you notice that you are always the one who is always sharing ideas, always trying to find a way to create collaborative efforts. And somebody is playing a solo game. After a while, what happens? You begin to protect yourself as well. So same thing applies to marriage, where every time your spouse comes, it's just to take and make withdrawals. All right, so he just comes in and does what you want, and off he goes, does what you want, and off he goes. Sometimes the other way around. The lady just comes, it doesn't matter, she just wants it. All right, give it to me, even when the guy is exhausted. After a while, it becomes something that people don't look forward to. And when people don't look forward to something, it becomes a painful mental experience. Not necessarily physical experience, but a painful. So the thought of it is exhausting because you're just like, not again, kind of thing. So you don't want that to be your own experience. So don't be selfish about it. What that means is forget about your own personal interest first. Not that you're going to discard it. Forget it, put it at the back burner. Find out what makes your spouse pleasurable. The thing about the female body is that it's a mystery. What will keep her pleasurable in the first 5 years of your marriage might be different in the next 5. All right, so you have to constantly be advancing, discovering, exploring. All right, find the part of our body that is sensitive, and on some part you will touch, you say no, what's all this? Don't let that put you off. Keep exploring, because sometimes she doesn't know herself, right? So that's the whole adventure, all right? So get in there and discover. So don't just rely on one book you read while you were in high school and just use that to be your template for sex for life. No.
Yes.
Women's body is different than the number of women we have on this planet. I'm telling you. Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Well, I like that point. Okay, so the next point we have for you is I don't want to say what's making me laugh, but we'll leave it at that. Hey audience. Okay, so the next point we have for you is rigid or dogmatic and different sexual planets. We've packed a lot into this point.
Yes.
Rigid or dogmatic and different sexual planets. Okay, so let's deal with the first part. Okay, when it's dogmatic, it's just, now let's talk about styles. This is the way I like it. It's got to be this way.
Yes, missionary styles.
Anything new is like, it's a threat. What's going on? There's no creativity. Okay, I like it when the lights are out. So if you turn on the lights, it's like, hey, what's happening?
It has to be at night. It can't be in the morning.
We have to be under the duvet.
It has to be under the duvet. It has to be in the bathroom. Or no, in the bedroom.
The bedroom.
Can't be in the bathroom.
We can't explore the bathroom.
Can't be in the kitchen.
No. What's going on?
What's that? Yeah? Let's not be rigid with these ideas. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
Yeah, let's not be rigid with these ideas. Let's be flexible.
Yes.
Alright, because don't forget that you have your own perceptions. Your spouse has his own perception. So we need to find a meeting point. And that's why the previous point is very important. So when you're not selfish about what you want, you'll be more understanding and more empathetic and more open. Alright? Selfishness is one of the things that makes people dogmatic, because you're like, this is what I want. If it's not this way, or the highway, no. But if you're like, okay, this is what I want, but let's see, maybe I can find something new. Alright, so tell me more about what you want. Alright, so very important. So sometimes people have fantasies that they want to play out, and these fantasies might be fantasies that are good and healthy for your spouse, but there are fantasies that are not so good in the sense that it can hurt your spouse body, inflict pain, impact their self-esteem. So those are not things you want to dabble into. All right, anything that prioritizes your own interests at the expense of your life partner, somebody you are building life with. No, it's not advisable for you to pursue that path.
Yes. And you know what you said, we're in different sexual planets. Yes. Because what you said in the last point is just as important. Okay, as people grow, as they go through a lot of changes, their bodies go through a lot of changes.
Yes.
You know, they feel different. Okay, an example would be a woman who is beginning to approach menopause. At that point, her needs are different. Okay, so when you're on different planets like that, you're thinking, oh, when we married, we used to go like 4 rounds. What's happening? What's the problem? Okay, and the woman, this is the point I think we should have talked about when we're talking about there was a point you talked on in the last video. It's just come to me again. Okay, when during menopause there's excessive dryness. Yes, we're talking about painful sex. Okay, excessive dryness, and she's having a lot of pain.
The vaginal wall is very dry. So.
Yes, and there's a lot of pain, and you just expect that she should carry on the way she used to be. No. So you need to understand what's going on, query what's going on. So in that way you can find a solution to it.
Sometimes the male hormone that drives them wants to make the man more sexually, increase their sexual libido, all right, might also drop. I forgot what it's called now. I think it's estrogen or something, and drop. So you might notice that the man might not be the one that will be pursuing having a lot of sex or desiring it a lot. So the thought of it, so the general narrative they have out there is that, oh, men want sex, so not for all men. All right, sometimes a man might just begin to get to that point where he's what conversations are more important to him than just sex. All right, very, very important.
Okay, so the next point we have for you is when sex becomes a duty. Okay, and we understand this. Okay, because we talk from our experience.
Yes.
When we were trying to have a baby for many years, it hadn't happened. There's a point where it gets to, and you're like, you just wait up. Okay, I'm ovulating. It's time. God. We have to have it.
Oh, come now. Like, oh no.
And at that point, you know, it kind of affects the other person, because at that, when you expect the person to perform, the person is so. I think it comes to a lot of anxiety. And the person, this again.
Am I going to get it right? Are we going to get it right this time? Is he going to stay? There are a lot of questions on your mind. And remember, your mind is your number one sexual organ. And when your mind is barraged with all kind of anxious thoughts, your body will go flat.
Yes. So, there are times when sex becomes a duty. That shouldn't be. Okay. What we're trying to encourage is that we bring some creativity to it. So even if you're at that phase where, like the example I used, it was just an example, you're trying for a baby and you know you need to be having sex at a certain time. Okay, at other times you also need to maybe just let your head down and do something for the pleasure of both of you. Okay, not just the one for having a baby. You want to say something?
Yeah, that's it basically, you know. Also find a way to nurture that pleasuring, passionate part, because this other one is dutiful. There's nothing emotionally attractive and duty. You just have to get it done. It's commitment. Get it done and move on.
Yes. Okay, so the next point is just a bit similar to it, but quite different. Okay, so when there is no creativity to sex, okay, like we were saying earlier, you need to explore different styles, explore different things. Let it not be same old. It makes it boring. It makes it not something you look forward to, not something you enjoy. Okay, and sometimes the reason for this are some concepts, some orientations we were sold as young people. Okay, like they could tell you, oh, sex is just for having babies, just for procreation. Okay, so when you get into marriage with that mindset, you're just thinking, I'm here to have babies. Okay, what's this whole thing about just lounging and having, excuse me, life is more serious than that. So when you come to it when you hit it with that understanding, it impacts things. It affects things between you.
So once in a while, change your bed sheets, change the light in the room, make it dim, make it fun, change the smell in the room, change the laundry, change the nightwear, visuals, work on the visuals, work on the smell, all right, work on the touch, the kind of duvet you use. Anything that touches the sensory, all right, they have a way of triggering, all right, sexual pleasure.
Yes. Okay. So the final point we'll have for you is when you're not intentional about building connection. This is a very critical point. Okay, because sometimes you see people who do not have a life together outside the bedroom. Okay, there's no connection between them outside the bedroom. So it's like the bedroom is the meeting point. Okay, apart from talking about the children when you get home, the next thing, okay, we just meet, consummate, and that's it. Okay, but sex should be an act that brings you together. I mean, in the course of it, you can even talk about how, if you're going to have to explore, then there should be some chemistry between you. There should be some connection between you. So when it's not there, it means you're just there, whim bam out. Okay, and that's not very good.
Not good at all for sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the person on the receiving end might just be there. Okay, just do your thing, and then that's it. So it's no longer something you enjoy. Okay, sex is intended for pleasure. For pleasure. So we should be hitting that point.
There's a point I also want to mention is that if you're a lady, you've been told that it's the guy that needs to initiate sex all the time, just to see that idea quickly. All right, once in a while, or not once in a while, initiate sex with your spouse. He is your spouse, all right? You have full right to do that. Initiate sex, all right? Lead him on, take him outside the bedroom.
I mean, like,
all right? I mean, yeah, very exciting, all right? Lead the way, all right? So change things around. So very important for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, if you've not been doing it, the first time you do it, he might be looking at you like, what's she up to? Hey, what's going on? He'll be suspicious. Okay, who has she been talking to? What has she been reading? What has she been watching? Okay, but you stay on it. I'm here to pleasure you. I'm gonna give you the ride of your life. Hey. And
sometimes it's good to carry them on that journey. All right, so be intentional about building connections. Building, find out what is happening in your wife's life, in her career, what her goals, how can you support these things? Because don't forget, don't you see sex from the point of an object, more like my wife is an object to meet my sexual pleasure. Engage with the human being behind the sex. The sex thing is a bonus to come to you. All right. So what's happening to her? Well, how can I make her life easier? What's happening to him? All right. What does he need to hear at this point? Say things that find out what is love language. Say things that will trigger your spouse in a positive way. All right. The sex will come.
And if you're going through a phase where one of you is being impacted, like the medical condition we talked about in the first video, okay, you be there for your spouse. Be patient. Let your spouse know I'm with you on this journey. We're in it together, and we'll scale through it. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel at this point, we'll ask that you subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Okay, so we hope to bring you more content. All right, so until we come your way again, it's goodbye from us.
And if you want to subscribe, go on.
No, go on. I was going to say we'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side. So if you want to subscribe to our what do you call it now, our intimacy builder program for singles or for married couples, send us an email at info@foundationforfamilyaffairs.org. Okay, bye for now.
See you.